We have officially made it into the modern age of Sid Meier's Civilization 7. My name, of course, is VanBradley, and today I'm going to be showing you how to close out a game of Civ 7 and get a victory. If you would like to see how we got to this position in the game, I have actually played on YouTube the Antiquity and Exploration Ages. They are both structured the same way as a how to win series. Those videos are both in the description. If you'd like to hop in now, though, now is the perfect time to learn how to win a game of Civ 7. Now, at least in my estimation and how I like to play Civ 7, we are going to start off doing something very different. In the previous two ages, we have come to these legacy paths, and I've given you the advice to just let the game play out in front of you and respond to it accordingly. If there's some that are easy to go for them. If there's some that are hard for, maybe you'll miss out on them this time, but to not be so pigeonholed into one strategy that you can't be adaptable to what the game is giving you. In the modern age, though, this works very differently. This time, we actually need to win the game. And how you win a game in Civ 7 is by getting to the end of any one of these four victory paths here, and then actually accomplishing the victory condition. So getting to the end of the path is not enough. That's just the first step. Then we need to complete the victory condition. While there still is room to be adaptable, I think in this case there are actually two victory conditions we could reasonably go for. It's good to come in here right away and understand which one you are going to go for and base your modern age gameplay around that. This is where the Confucius combo with the Maya Antiquity Age start is going to pay dividends for us. As Confucius, as you know already, we are destroying everybody in science, and that's before our specialists kind of reactivate in this age once we replace all the obsolete buildings on their tiles. So this 411 is going to be in the 6, 7, 800s really quickly early on, which means we are going to be able to go through the modern age tech tree really quickly. We also need to remember that in Bach and Wak-Kabnal, we still have our Maya unique quarter, which is right here. And every time we finish a modern age technology, it is still going to give us that large production boost. What this means is that the science victory is perfect for us. We need to research a bunch of stuff in the tech tree to get and unlock the science victory condition, which we can do with our high science. Separately from that, we have to run a bunch of space race projects. Those are run with production. If we can run them in either of these two cities, we can then use our high science number to complete technologies, which subsequently kind of increases the production of those projects. So I think that'll be the quickest way to victory. In the modern age, you have to remember that this game will not end when this hits 100% like the first two ages. It will end when someone wins, and so you want to win as quickly as possible, and I think for now the science victory is going to be our fastest path there. So we'll target this. Our backup plan is going to be the economic victory. We're going to have a lot of cities that will be able to host factories, and some towns that might be able to as well. We're going to have a lot of resources just by virtue of how much of the map we're taking up. If we go to our resource screen, you can see just how many factory resources we have available. I'm going to show off how to do that because we're going to be utilizing factories anyway, but that will be our backup plan if the science thing goes sideways. Because we're only going to be able to play one of the victory conditions today, I won't be able to show them off. So between the economic and the science one, I'll likely be able to show you how to accomplish them, even if we only accomplish one. If you would like to know more about the military and culture victory conditions, that might be a separate video, or you might need to go to the Civ Wiki or whatever. But just know this is a good time to kind of read about the victory conditions, see where you're at with your Civ, with your leader, with your, yields, with the map, and kind of see which victory condition works best for you. The modern age has begun. I really like this little screen at the beginning of the ages. The first obvious pick here is the Enlightenment Golden Age. Now, I actually think we might end up with more science if we just spam scientific attribute points and get the +5 over and over again. But what this does is it keeps our universities as Golden Age universities, which means they're not obsolete. If your buildings are obsolete, the specialists on those tiles don't kind of reactivate until you have a quarter of kind of new age buildings ready to go. And so having a good chunk of our buildings just not be obsolete might be helpful for getting our specialists reactivated quickly. I also think 3 science per turn for each quarter is just really fun, although again, I think maybe the most ideal thing is just spam scientific attribute points. Like I mentioned in the previous ages, you can't really go wrong on this screen. There's just a bunch of really cool, fun, powerful options depending on how you did. So in the modern age, again, do not be stressed out if you don't have a lot of points to spend or the options aren't to your liking or whatever. Choose the ones you think will be fun. Don't overthink this. I think I'll keep the 26 culture and then get a cultural attribute point. I think that'll be worth it. Down here we have 2 to spend. 2 gold per turn per unique resource is not going to be a ton, so we'll go for 2 economic attribute points. Now, if I didn't want a high amount of science so much, I would have spared the wildcard point for Westphalian sovereignty. 3 war support in all wars declared against you is a great defensive mechanism, so we're gonna have to rely on our own defense here, which I think will be okay. I will just go for a militaristic attribute point to try and find some combat strength or some kind of military bonus, just in case we end up fighting anybody. 15% gold towards purchasing and settlements will be great early on to buy some early buildings to get our settlements going. Oh, this is perfect. Our militaristic attribute point is worth 1 war support in all of my wars, so that'll be great. And then our scientific point, we are going to, for the 8th time, do 5% science repeatable. I chose not to change my capital. Again, I feel like we are in a good state of affairs. Whack Cabnal might have been a fun option for us as well. However, we now need to go back and convert all of our towns back to cities. Now, I want to reiterate again, sometimes you want to take your old cities and keep them as towns. In this case, though, I just want to find a couple of really good cities for us to have in the modern age. All of our cities or all of our towns that used to be cities have a very cheap upgrade cost, so don't be stressed out if you're worried, like, oh my god, all of my cities are turning back into towns. What am I going to do? How am I going to afford it? It should be okay. They shouldn't be overly expensive. Only 200 gold apiece so far. I wonder if this is finally the age where we can connect Hangzhou to anything. The second they fix this AI for how to connect a town to a city, I will be so stoked. This is perfect. I've upgraded all of my towns that I'd like to be cities back into cities. I think it's just all the same lineup we had last time. The next thing I want to do is double check the resources. They have once again changed. Some of the resources are new, some are old. You'll see that camels are gone completely. Some of them, like horses, used to have an empire effect. Now they have a bonus effect. So just go through your resources and make sure everything's good. It's worth looking on the map, though, because before you turn all of your towns back onto a focus, maybe you will want to let them grow, whether that's to acquire tiles, but potentially to acquire a new resource that is now on the map that wasn't there before. It seems like we're mostly pretty good. I'm going to set a lot of our towns back to the same focus, either farming or mining. Again, I think those are the best 2 standard focuses. They'll get you through any game of Civ without overthinking it. I want to try doing a couple factory towns, though, just to show those off. So I'll try and save a couple as factory towns, because I think they can be cool in the modern age. But like Patavium, for instance, I'm going to throw back to being a mining town. Another thing to consider just before you kind of switch all of your towns, I just made this mistake because I forgot, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. If you would like to have factory towns, you need to have factory resources in those towns. So somewhere like Koba that doesn't have any factory resources, you'll see I don't have that option. What I wanted to mention, though, is that your towns can purchase grocers, and grocers have a ton of food attached to them. So you can get, this is without grocers, but you can get some pretty quick growth early on before you change back. So it might be worth just making sure a couple of your towns acquire a few new tiles before you switch them back to a focus. I'm going to start by researching merchants because I want to get some trade routes going in the modern age. Oh, that's a lie. We're going to do the 1-turn academics into merchants because I also really want Oxford University. Oxford will give us 2 free technologies and just kind of help us get going into the science tree a little bit quicker. If you are looking to do the cultural victory, these explorer units that happen in natural history are going to be your first step on that kind of mission there to collect artifacts. If you're going for the cultural victory, natural history first is going to be the one you want. I think for what we're doing, we're going to build the Hermitage first. That's our unique wonder in this age for Russia, and so I think I want to do that. Speaking of which, for Russia, we're getting culture in districts in all cities, which is great. So that's just any tile with a building, and then science on districts and cities in tundra, which is also great because we have quite a few of those as well. We're just going to keep all of our unique science cards in here, our traditions. They'll start pumping up the science a little bit, which is awesome. We have started with quite a few units, quite a few commanders, and quite a few enemies. So just like the exploration age, I'm going to start rounding all the units up. We start with siege units this time, which is awesome. And I'm just going to put them on the borders of the people that hate us. I don't expect another giant conquest going through, but I just want to be prepared in case our enemies decide to attack us early on here. The modern age, known for its warfare in Civ 7 so far, so I just want to be on the lookout, you know? For diplomacy, I'm going to recommend waiting a turn just to see what the city-state situation is going to be like. There's no sense in spending our diplomacy this turn and then finding out there's a city-state we want to become the suzerain of in the next turn. We just unlocked the schoolhouse, and I can choose +9 science on the one if we build one in the capital. I'm going to choose +3 on all schoolhouses, though, because we're going to have more than 3 of them, so it's more total science. I saved my gold. You'll notice I'm building all these grocers in my cities, which is great. But yeah, we're going to get some really crazy schoolhouses really quickly here. As I'm looking around to build, I'm obviously looking like what are the highest yields, what am I building over, what are the adjacencies. All of those are still important. We just have one other consideration. This tile has 2 of 3 specialists, and so what we want to do is replace some of these obsolete buildings pretty early on to get those specialists reactivated. Now, I don't know if it's you need to replace all of them or none of them or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how it works because there's no UI to tell us, but I know in some capacity the specialists are deactivated by having obsolete buildings because they're not multiplying the adjacencies because there are no longer adjacencies. So to what degree they're disabled, I wish I had a better answer, but they're not fully functioning at the moment. So we want to get those back online. But separately, 20 science per turn is incredible anyway. Even crazier is that the base yield is 5. So we're adding 15 just with all of our many abilities. With regard to a government, authoritarianism will kind of get you out of a pinch war-wise. However, I just really think elective republic is obviously the best way to go. I think they should swap one of these up with the gold, but I think elective republic, it's either 20% culture or science, is incredibly powerful. We can build Oxford University, so we shall. That'll be all your 2 free techs, as well as this is just going in. Oh, these are both all ageless. Rip. Okay, we'll go here for the 7. That's okay. But once we finish Steam Engine, that's going to boost through really quickly, so that'll be fine. All right, let's see how many turns we boost through Oxford by just having our Antiquity Maya building going. This is an early modern age tech, too. Yeah, we boosted about halfway through. 13 turns down to 8 turns. Incredible. We are in a little bit of a race through the tree here, but this mastery is really good early on, so I'm going to take that. There's a couple of really good buildings early on, so we're trying to figure out exactly what to do here because they've spaced out these buildings really well. If you want factories, which you are going to want regardless of your victory condition, you got to come down to mass production. If you want a rail station, you got to come down here. Rail stations are really critical in the modern age, but there's some really good happiness and culture buildings here, and then another science building up here, so there's a lot for us to think about. One of the things you should know about ports is ports are the way that we connect naval cities in the modern age. Now, again, the connection system is really strange in this build of Civ 7, so we're going to have to do a little bit of figuring out here. But one of your kind of ways to build factories is that they need to be connected to the capital via railroad. But you can't put a railroad over the ocean. How you connect like this city over here to your capital via railroad is by using ports to form part of that connection. So ports are very functional. They're going to give you the gold, they're going to give you the resource capacity, but they also act as kind of the water railroad for that connection. For celebration, obviously 20% science because we're trying to go through the science tree as quickly as possible. And then we go production towards overbuilding because we're almost entirely overbuilding at the moment. All right, I'm gonna make Hangzhou our factory town here. We have a factory town option. I'm gonna make it Hangzhou just for fun. Will it connect to anything? Will it connect to anything? It is not connected to anything yet, but we're gonna get there. I'm gonna buy a port in Hangzhou and see if that does anything. All right, Wak-Kabnal now has a port. Hangzhou has a port. Now I don't know if there's like a range issue, but port-to-port connection should theoretically be possible. So let's try that. And let's see on the next turn, will it finally connect to something? Early merchants, 1 turn, and that'll be more good resources for us to pack in, which will be great. I think we will go electricity first. I think specialist limit in all cities is obviously good for what we're doing. Laboratories are going to be great for what we're doing as well. Gold to buy grocers in all of our towns will be nice, so I think that's a good idea. I'm going to befriend Tehran. You'll notice that the modern age... Oh, it's not even shorter. I thought it was shorter in the modern age. Whatever, we're going to befriend Tehran. We'll put our influence there. I think the science boost is going to be nice for us. A brief overview of the culture victory very quickly, if that is what you're going to go down. You're going to want to grab these museums. They give you a lot of culture, but they have 3 artifact slots. The artifact slots are your, great works of the modern age. You'll start with 1 slot in the palace, etc. You're going to then want to go and you're going to want to grab these units here. They are called the Explorers. They don't die or anything. You're just going to run them around the map. As you kind of discover dig sites, you'll dig out the relics and they will go inside the museums. And then eventually, after you have 15 artifacts in your empire, you'll be able to build the world wonder and win the game. Now, we're going for the science victory. However, I'm going to do a little bit of culture victory. Just, you want to make sure you have options. I don't want to, there's a finite amount of artifacts. I don't want to not get them. when it was possible to get them all along, and then realize that we're going to need to go for a culture victory for whatever reason, and then have that not be an option. So we are going to do a little bit of that, but that's the overview. So you're going to want to prioritize museums if that's what you're kind of really shooting for. In the modern age civic tree, there's a few different things going on that are different. First off, culture victory, you're going to want to rush hegemony. It will allow you to research more artifacts, so you're going to want to come to hegemony really quickly. Once you get to political theory, you'll be able to unlock a philosophy, and so we'll take a look at those when we get there. But once you see the philosophies, you might decide this is what you want to rush. Separately, we have our own unique civics tree, which has a lot of cool stuff in it that we are interested in. Serfdom for the food on farms and towns, etc., etc., etc. I think I'm going to rush the political theory first, just to kind of get that out of the way, and then we'll circle back for the food on farms and towns. I purchased a port in Bach just to see if I can get Hangzhou to connect to literally anything, and it just isn't, and I think that's because the connection is going to go across the coast and going to go kind of through Guangzhou, and a town can't connect through another town, which is very annoying. But that's okay, though. Next up, I'm going to buy a port in Beiping and see if that works. The Oxford University is in. That is 2 free technologies for us. Now, I wonder if it counts as, for the purposes of producing, I wonder if it counts as, like, actually getting those technologies. We'll find out. That's excellent. Oh, my goodness. Oh, we're unlocking tons of stuff. There we go. Holy smokes. It sure does seem like it, because these are some pretty quick production times. And we got a 21 science laboratory. Let's chuck that bad boy down. Anyways, a lot of good stuff unlocked. Rail stations are next for me. I want to get those online. I want to show those off. I love having a rail station around. If not for any other reason, then if I end up at war with any of these jabronis, I want to make sure that I can kind of yeet my units around on the rail stations. Another scientific point. Hell yeah, brother. 9 times through 5% total. 10 times because we got a wildcard point. Look at that. And another scientific attribute. No, that was the one we already spent. Never mind. Build a laboratory with +3 adjacency. Already happening, homie. Just to hedge against the things we're going to need later. Just in case. I don't need this laboratory urgently here. We'll go for the museum to open up the artifact slots for us. We can get 3 science on all of our museums. That's like a max of 15, though, if I build all of the max 5 museums. So I'll just go and get the free artifact in that case. You can see the artifacts in the modern age give you 4 culture. So once they're slotted in, you'll get 4 culture per turn for each artifact. We're going to do a merchant here. I'm still trading. I want to make sure I got good trade routes and good resources coming in. But then we're going to get an explorer, and we're going to start exploring. I think we found the answer to the question I had earlier. I do apologize that I'm also still learning this game a little bit still. So it seems like the thing you lose in the age transition for the specialist is the multiplication of adjacencies, which makes perfect sense because the tiles lose their adjacency with obsolete buildings. You'll see here it's letting me put a specialist on the library and the barracks. So we're getting the standard calculation of 2 science and 2 culture for 2 food and 2 happiness, and then the additional science is from our abilities and not from adjacency. So this makes perfect sense. We have an explorer, and now that we can start exploring, I want you to know right now that I think this might be the silliest mechanic in Civ 7. I'm not telling you this so you can enjoy the mechanic, just so you can win a culture victory. How this works is all the different continents on the map that are color-coded have different relics on them that we're going to be looking for. We need to research them first by continent. Where this gets a little silly is the first person to research them on every continent researches them for everybody. So once we research them on Laurentia, everybody else can see them, so that's a bit silly. And now what we're doing is we're only researching the earliest relics available. Remember, we have to get to hegemony to get more relics or artifacts, and so we'll just research the ones we can for now. We'll click the research button, which is awesome, and we'll see what that does next turn. Is this the moment? Is this finally the moment we get a connection for Hangzhou? Oh, not yet. We can now get rail stations in our cities. Now, rail stations are never going to blow your mind with yields. They come with a pretty hefty happiness building maintenance, but they're going to do a lot for us. 10% production towards training units in cities with a railroad, which is awesome. So we're going to do that. The rail station takes up an entire tile. So if we put it on this tile, it's going to build through both obsolete buildings to sit on that entire tile. The rail station is also going to let us teleport things between other rail stations within range. And so you want a couple of rail stations at a couple of critical points because then you can teleport your units between them. Separately, the rail station is necessary for the factory. You can only build factories in a city that has a rail connection to the capital. So once we build a rail station here and we build a rail station here, they'll be in range, they'll connect, and then we'll be connected to the capital and we can build a factory. While we have the overbuilding card in, though, I'd rather just overbuild with normal buildings. So put the rail station up here. We'll go straight for that factory because the railroads in here are going to be very quick from our Mayan unique quarter. And that's perfect. I can get a rail station here pronto. Now that we have researched the artifacts on our continent, we can go start digging them up. You can have one explorer per dig site, so if we want to spend gold or production on more explorers, that'd be nice. These are first come, first serve, though, so the more explorers, the merrier. We're going to want to get these done very quickly. With that in mind, I am going to buy a second explorer. We're going very culture-y for this non-culture game. I just want to start getting these done and start researching the dig sites on other continents. We've unlocked political theory, so now in Civ 7 you can become a Democrat, a fascist, or a communist. 3 very crazy options. The first one of these you research is how you will be treated by the AI for the rest of the game. They're going to give you some passive abilities. This one gives you 4 infantry units, a cultural point, a diplo point. This one here gives you 3 cavalry units, an economic point, a militaristic point. It also gives you some policy cards that you can read and kind of see what's great. There are 2 things you want to consider when you do this. One, which one of these do you want? Like, which one of these is going to be best for you? In this case, probably communism. We want more scientific attribute points. We want more 5% repeatables in that scientific tree. Separately, though, once the AI researches them, the people that have the same kind of philosophy as you will like you a lot more, and the people that don't will hate you a lot more. This is where all of like the world warfare comes. If you are a fascist and they are a communist, as you can imagine, there'll be a lot of infighting happening there, right? And so sometimes when I'm playing on higher difficulties, I will take a look, I'll wait until they kind of culturally get far enough ahead to pick one, and then I will just find who I least want to fight and pick whatever one they have just to make them happier with me. So there are 2 different ways you want to think about it. We are really far ahead of the AI. 221 culture is the next highest, and we're at 455. So it's likely that we are kind of hitting this area first. If they have an ideology, it will show up here. Instead of saying increase relationship, decrease relationship, it'll actually just tell you the ideology. It'll say ideology's communist or whatever, like, then you'll know what you want to do. Seeing as we don't need this yet, I am actually going to hold off on that for a little bit. I do want to come down our unique civics tree. I want to get serfdom. I want this food on farms and towns. That'll be a good little food source for us. And then we'll work our way somewhere else. Factories unlocked, rail stations down. So we have rail stations, they are connected together. Let's see if I can actually show off how the movement of a rail station works. Here we go. So if you are adjacent, so within kind of the command radius of a rail station, and you click on the move by rail, it will highlight all the other rail stations that are in range, and you can click on any one of these tiles and just move the unit there. How cool is that? It doesn't mean we can build a factory, though. I'll show off why you want to do this kind of regardless of what's going on. But the factory does not take up its own tile, so I'm just going to overbuild on something else. I'm going to pop in for this mastery, +1 science on science buildings, then +1 food on fishing boats and stuff. These are all great to grab on the way when you are ahead. It'll help kind of keep us going ahead here. What a great factory over top of a menagerie. Hell yeah. When you hit a dig site with your explorer, it takes a couple turns, but literally just click dig, and it starts digging. Our factories are both finished, so let's talk about how the factories work. In the resource allocation screen, you will now see a little factory icon here. That is where you will put one of the factory resources. As of the patch I'm playing this game on, these factory resources are empire-wide, so it does not matter where you are putting them, it'll affect the whole empire. I tested this extensively in a live stream with a bunch of witnesses, because I didn't believe it, but that is how this works. And it makes sense, it's not overly overpowered or anything, but there's a few things you want to consider when slotting in your factory resource. The first is which resources are going to be most helpful for you right now. For instance, every fish will give you 5% settlement growth rate. That's really, really helpful for us right now. Coffee is going to give us 5% production towards buildings. Very helpful for us right now. Citrus is going to give us 5% production towards training naval units. Less helpful for us. So you can see there are some factory resources that are going to do more for our empire than others. The next thing you want to think about is the quantity. If you are going for that economic victory condition, the quantity of the resources matters a lot. Every turn that there's a factory resource slotted in, you will get kind of 1 credit towards the bajillion credits you need to get to this victory condition here. So if we slot in 1 coffee and whack Cabnal here, that's 1 point per turn. If we slot in a second coffee, that's 2 point per turns. Both of these effects will kind of stack. We'll get 2 factory points per turn for the victory condition, etc. So we're going to want to take some of these out, actually, and replace them with all of the coffee we can, because I want that 20% bonus for the entire empire. And there we go. We're going to get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% towards buildings and wonders, which is great, but also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coffee points towards our factory victory condition. We're going to do something similar in Bach, but this time it's going to be with fish. This one, it's less about the quantity for me and more about just settlement growth rate is very, very powerful later in the game. And so the less food we need for our settlements to grow, the more specialists we are going to have. Oh no, our science homie got taken out. That was mean. That's okay. We're doing this. See, that one was 15 turns, though, so I was right that some of them are a little quicker in the modern age. Okay. Once your homie is done finding their relics, it'll just give you a little pop-up. There we go. And now we're going to have more relics to place in our museums. I'm going to go for more explorers because everything's first come, first serve, and because the explorers unlock so early on, the AI has access to them right away. So we're going to want to be a little quick in getting some of these acquired. I'm going to go for this mastery right here to get the production on towns in Tundra. There's a lot of good stuff here that we're going to want, but I actually think I want to rush hegemony pretty quickly just to get ahead of the AI, because we're going to beat them to it very, very, very decisively. While we can't really do much off our own continent at the moment, I'm going to go, like, send them to the purple continent just to get ready to go for when that's possible. Now, there's a lot of work to be done in some of our kind of newer cities here, but I did want to shout out the Aerodrome. If you are planning on doing any kind of military kind of air warfare, the Aerodrome is going to be the place to start. It gets really complicated. There's aerodromes, air commanders, squadron commanders, aircraft carriers, and their commanders. So the airfare warfare in Civ 7 can be a little complicated. We're not going to do too much of that in this game, I don't think. We'll keep it on the back burner. We'll just buy one if we need one. But for right now, we're obviously going for things like the laboratory and the military academy. I'm going to put that laboratory down and then buy the military academy for the extra 15 production here to get that cruising. Just kidding, that was the same tile, so I messed that up. Let's see if I can do that in reverse. The radio station is one of my favorite buildings. The happiness and the influence is just so great. If you ever get caught up in a war and you just need influence for war support, this tile, please. It just feels so, so, so good to have that extra influence coming in. So you can see how our economic victory is kind of ticking up slowly but surely. It's been about 3 turns since we kind of put all those resources in. So as we get more factories and slide more resources in, that is going to go up like so. And nothing for the space race projects yet. We're going to need to build an aerodrome to complete the transoceanic flight project. So we'll get going on an aerodrome in one of our 2 cities with the Mayan unique quarter. You can see the AI has now started researching things on their continent, so I'm going to go over and try and snake them a little bit. They've got, you know, enough explorers. Jay Rizzler's got 4 going, which is a little annoying. So hopefully we can beat them to some of these. Maybe we're going to buy an explorer over here just to see what we can do. I have now wasted money on purchasing a port in Uxmal. I don't even have any resources to put in it. However, I do just want to test something, so I'm going to save it here. We're going to save it here. That's a lie. We'll save it next to when we can afford it. I'm going to upgrade Uxmal into a city and see if it connects port to port, Hangzhou to Uxmal. We are definitely going to go professional architects here. Production awards completing projects in cities with the science building. That'll be the main projects we're looking for over here once we get the aerodromes done. Hey, first Geographic Society bit of progress in there. How many is that? Yeah, we're collecting them. We're doing good. All right, we have saved the game. It is time. Will we connect Hangzhou? Uxmal is now a city. Uxmal has a port. It is on the coast. These are all facts. Hangzhou is a factory town. No, Hangzhou! How dare you? Separately, Bach also has a port. So, if we want to get a factory here, we need to connect via port. Beiping also has a port. So, it should follow that if I buy a rail station here, I guess we'll have to try this again in the next turn when we don't upgrade Uxmal. But I should be able to buy a rail station here that should enable me to buy a factory because it should be connected via port now. All right, we're back. Instead of, do I need to repair anything? No, instead of upgrading Uxmal, because that was silly, We're going to come in here and we're going to buy a rail station in the city with the port here and see how that goes for us. So we'll just buy it on the outskirts here. Now, can we build a factory? We can build a factory. So for the love of God, Beiping can connect all the way to the capital with a port. And it works. But not Hangzhou. What is wrong with you? Just for illustration of what it looks like if it's not connected, though, and don't ask me why this isn't connected, because I got no idea. Carl's going to have to tell you. We got a railroad here in Parsa. It says at the bottom it has a railroad, right? So it's right here. But it's not connecting to the capital, so when we come into produce, you'll see factory isn't an option, because it needs to be connected to the capital, even if it has a rail station. The Rizzler keeps using all of his diplomacy to spy on me, so I'm just going to start doing that for him as well. Like, why not? Get out of here. If you're gonna... Oh, you're good. You're good, homie. If you're gonna spy on me, I'm gonna spy on you. All right, so we need to create a road with this merchant. I don't know where to create the road to connect it to the capital. I suppose Takoba is the start. Let's do that. All right, well, the tooltip is saying it's connected to Koba now. So that's good. Now, do I gotta connect Koba to Bach? What is happening here? Yo, Sid Meier, we desperately need a connection tooltip going on here. Oh, but you're already connected. What the hell is happening here? But you're not connected. Nanchang, Funju, Yingshang. So it's not counting the port connection. But what is it counting? Oh, maybe it has to connect through a rail station in Koba. All right, all right. All right, I'll buy a rail station next turn and see if that helps. We can finally build the transoceanic flight, which is going to be the first part of our science victory. So we are going to do that indeed. 9 turns on that, right? But then we're going to get the production every time we finish a technology, which is going to be great. I would happily build Doggo Onsen. It's one of the best wonders in the game, but it's bugged right now that it's way too overpowered, and that would be unfair. I think I'm genuinely just going to build more explorers just in case. We're hitting hegemony in 3. And that'll give us access to more relics that the AI probably won't have yet because they won't be at hegemony. So if we can snap up all those relics before they get to hegemony, that would be great. You have to remember there are a finite amount of relics. If you do not collect them quickly enough, you will simply not get to have any, which is annoying. There's 2 left on Nuna and 2 left in Samaria right now, so we're trying to get them quickly. But otherwise, there won't be any left if we don't hurry up. It's telling me that Hangzhou is connected to Yingshang. How can that be possible? Does it literally connect up the navigable river? You don't even have a fishing key. What the hell is happening? We have built or researched hegemony, so now we have access to antiquity age artifacts. So that should give us some more options on the map. I still don't know where to go to research this. There's got to be a green research area over here. We'll go science. Let's just get to the end of the tree here. Yeah, we're getting really close to the end of the tree where rocketry is. This should also get us space flight by the time we research this, I think. I'm pretty ready to go into communism. I want that science per turn on the kind of science legacy point slot. Not the legacy point, the science attribute point slot. We also have quite a few settlement limit we've accrued. Now, we're cruising with the settlements we have. We don't need to push the envelope, but there's a lot of space, a lot of good resources. Let's play this properly. Let's assume we're not going to cakewalk this. We want to be taking up the space we have with some good resources in the middle of the map there. There we go. The first space race project is complete. We've also hit our first kind of factory resource boost, which is awesome. Now let's buy a rail station in Koba and see. Let's just get it on the connection. Now let's see if we can buy a factory in Parsa. Yeah, so it's connected rail to the capital. All right, that makes sense. I mean, I wish there was a tooltip or a lens or something that could tell me that, but this connection is making sense to me. Parsa connected to Koba via rail, connected to Bach via rail, connected to the capital. We can now build a factory. Hooray. Good, good, good. We're going to go and break the sound barrier. That is our next project we need to complete, which is awesome. Then we go into rocketry to unlock the launch pad and the launch satellite. Oh, tons more artifacts now that we're researching with hegemony. Oh, we got this. This is an easy win for us, baby. Maybe we end up with the culture win by accident after all. That's another space project in the bag. No cool kind of videos for them. Is a little bit lame, but how does that do on the science? Yeah, we got one more project, which is the satellite project, and then we have the manned space flight for the win. I can gain another scientific attribute point. Hell yeah. What is that? 12 times repeatable? That's so much science. That's insanity. This public works card here would be quite good for us. I think we'll be fine without it, though, because we have the Maya unique quarter kind of doing all of that work. I think what I want to come back here and grab some of these wonders, maybe some of these cultured things here, these civics, so we can get to future civic. That would be great. I'd love the wild card points. We got into communism, though, so that's going to be our, our ideology. What is Jay Rizzler doing? No one else has really picked an ideology yet, though, so we're in the clear. Once they start picking, though, if they're communists, we're homies. If they're not communists, we are not homies. It seems as though I need a university or a museum to research artifacts on the green continent Kalahari here, and no one's very cultured over here, so we're having a problem, but that's okay. We're not going for the culture win anyway. It's just a good backup, and it's been a good backup indeed. We're getting closer. We can now build the launch pad and get ourselves to a victory. Sorry, Ming Great Wall. I can't think of anything better to get rid of the Ming Great Wall for, though. We'll grab a launch pad here as well. Just put it on the outskirts. Look at that. Just to build this all more quickly, I'll go through the masteries, because that'll get some production going into these very, very quickly. We're finally starting to churn up. We have 4 factories now. They all got 3 or 4 resources, and then we're starting to turn this through. Same with the culture one. Like, we're finally starting to get to the end. We're just so close to the science one. I think we're going to get there very quickly. All right, it is time. We are going for the launch satellite. 9 turns, but I feel like it'll be fewer once we start ticking some of these masteries through. Yeah, that knocked 4 turns off of it right there. So the mastery strat is the good one to go for, because that's just a really quick way to chip away at them. And then some of these masteries will be available too for the final project. Because remember, once we get to the end here, which is the project we're currently running, we still then have the victory condition, which is, in the science case, just another project. So it's kind of 4 projects. It sneaks up on you. Well, there's another artifact. Which one are we going to get to first? I mean, it's getting closer. No, our problem now is artifact capacity. Like, we have 2 extras that we're not even slotted in anywhere. Well, no stress. I'm going to buy a museum over here and get those slotted in. Not even in any particular spot. Like, we're moving quickly here. And there's another artifact. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So now we're 2 short, and we have a museum coming in Parsa in 5 turns. There we go. Yo! We got the culture victory unlocked. No way. We got 15 artifacts. And that was 1 turn before the launch pad. All right, chat. We have 2 options. Both will be worth a victory. But let's see what we want to do here. In the next turn, we're going to have 2 options. There's the space victory unlocked. Where is that? Oh, my God. That's so loud. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. There we go. Cool, we blasted off into space, Team Rocket style. So now, science path done, culture path done. We now have to complete the victory condition. For the science path, we need to build the final project, which is the first manned spaceflight, I believe. For the culture one, we have to build the final wonder, which is the World's Fair. So this one's going to take 17 turns for the culture victory, and you just got to build the wonder, and then you're done. This one's going to take 13 turns for the science victory. So we're going to do the 13 turn one. However, I've been able to show off those 2 victory conditions and how to do them, though, which is great. I've also mostly been able to show off the economic one. So we're actually getting out of this video pretty good if you're a new viewer to Civ. You saw the science one, you saw the culture one. We're kind of chipping through the economic one, but you know how to get to the end now. Build more factories, put more resources, yada this, yada that. That would be perfect. And then military one, it's still a lot of killing people. So a lot of killing people will help you. Yeah, now we just got to use our Maya unique quarter and get some free production going in here. Oh, get the 20% extra science. What good timing. We'll just go production in cities and no growth because we're, winning. So that's fine. All of these homies can just sleep now because we've won. Good work, explorers. Huzzah. Yeah, we're knocking off turns real quick. The one thing I want to say now is I just hope what I've illustrated is how each of the 3 ages can kind of set you up for success. X or Antiquity Age, a base of an empire to work with, right? We're setting up a command hub of a couple of good cities, a couple of good towns that we can really expand on and work with. Exploration Age, we are making sure we are set up for a victory condition. We were ahead in science, we were ahead in culture, we were ready to get into the modern age and get a head start. Because we were able to come in and get a head start, we didn't have too much on the threat side from, you know, any wars or anything like that. And we were able to use our unique abilities even as far back as the Antiquity Age. So our civ selection along the way has been really helpful. So yeah, this, I hope... I'm going to reject your denunciation. Just because I'm winning doesn't mean you can hate me. I hope this has been helpful in illustrating how each kind of third of the game kind of results in the victory we're watching happen right now. Is this going to be it? Will this Armor 2 tech boost the rest of this? Come on, please be it. We got this, baby. We got this. Yes! We did it! Good work, team. I have no idea why they needed to make that so loud, but they sure decided they needed to. Holy smokes. That's the victory, everybody. The modern age has come to an end. I hope this was a helpful series for you. I really enjoyed playing this game. If it was, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. Let's listen to the dulcet tones of Gwendolyn Christie. Let's watch our victory screen take shape in front of us. Let's look at the flames of our scientific achievements burn to ash the concrete and the ground. How fun is this? I wonder if this is modeled after a specific place or not. Anyways, that was really fun. That was really cool. There we go. Victory, Confucius. Well, that'll be it for this video, everyone. Again, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Civ 7. Anything you'd like to see from me. There'll be more gameplays in the future. I hope this has been a helpful little tutorial series for you. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go get you a victory in your Civilization games, and we will see you in the next one.